Community Hotline is made possible with generous support by Gresham Ford, the dealer with a heart. The Contribute to the Community program provides the opportunity for the Gresham Ford team to make a positive impact, serving their customers and helping people across the community. The Outlook, serving the residents of East Multnomah County for more than 100 years. The region's #1 source for information, The Outlook provides readers with intensely local coverage of the issues and people that impact our lives and community. The Mountain Hood Cable Regulatory Commission, advocating on behalf of the public interest on communications policy issues at the local, state, and federal levels. And by Stamp Connection. MetroEast values the support of our partners in the community, and we'd like to give a very special thanks to the sponsors who help make our programming possible.
Hi, I'm Atsidi Hannon, and I'll be filling in for Monica Weitzel tonight as the host of Community Hotline, a MetroEast production that features local organizations and their involvement in the community. On tonight's show, we will be talking about PDX Bridge and some of the partner organizations working with this program. First, we'll learn about Gateway to College National Network, a program that works to place struggling high school students in college. Then, we will talk about PDX Bridge at Portland Community College and how they are working to ensure student success. And finally, we'll discuss the future of PDX Bridge and the plans for an East County expansion. So stay tuned and learn more about the projects and opportunities for students here on Community Hotline. Welcome to Community Hotline. I'm Atsidi Hannon, and I'll be your host for tonight. And here today we have Emily Froimson and Prentice Davis from Gateway to College National Network. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. Why don't we begin by talking a little bit about what Gateway to College National Network is?
Well, first of all, Prentice and I are really thrilled to be here because we love talking about the work that we get to do every day. Gateway to College National Network is a Portland-based national organization focused on helping communities build pathways for vulnerable, disconnected youth to complete their high school diploma and go on to post-secondary, earning a post-secondary credential. You know, the national office, we are conveners, we're trainers, we help launch programs, we bring people together, and we help communities find solutions to re-engaging out-of-school youth. Our flagship Gateway to College program, which is what Prentice will talk a little bit about in a minute, started at Portland Community College, which is why we're based here. The program was started nearly 2 decades ago, and it caught the attention of a national funder who wanted the program to be replicated around the country. And that spawned the launch of the national network, the national organization. And over a decade or so, we launched nearly, we have 35 programs now in nearly 20 states around the country. Wow. We have now, over the last couple years, extended our work. We're working a lot more deeply here in our home state of Oregon, and we're excited to talk more about the things that we're getting to do in Oregon because, as your viewers probably know, Oregon needs to do some work around improving educational attainment, improving high school graduation rates, and making sure that we have a prepared workforce.
Absolutely. And Prentice, did you want to talk a little bit about Gateway to College program model?
Absolutely. So The Gateway to College program model targets students who are, let's just say, overaged and undercredited, and so typically are behind in credits for their age and grade level. Students are generally between 16 and 20 years old. This program takes place on a community college campus, and so students are enrolled in developmental level classes, which account for not only high school credits, but college credits as well. I think one of the important factors about Gateway to College is that students receive one-on-one support from a dedicated coach or resource specialist, and that person is there as an advisor, to pick them up when they're feeling a little bit down, but also they play an important role to connecting students to resources both in the community as well as on campus to help them eliminate barriers so that they can be successful. Students complete the program once they've earned enough credits to satisfy their high school diploma requirements.
And what do you feel makes this program special and unique to other alternative programs?
I'd say, as I called out, I think that the support that students receive from their coach/resource specialist is really, really a critical piece. Many of our students don't receive the support that they need to be successful in an educational environment, from their family, in their own homes. So it's important that students have that go-to person. Our standards for our approach to holistic student support are really based on about 5 principles. One is caring relationships. So we've seen that our students oftentimes haven't had meaningful and trusting relationships with adults. The coach in the Gateway to College program model fills that role. Another piece is a safe environment, so students are safe to express themselves and be themselves on that college campus. Another one has to do with using a strengths-based mindset, and so our coaches are well trained with that and help students work through challenges that they face using that strengths-based mindset. Community connections is important as well, which is another part of the concept, and that really has to do with connecting students to, again, resources in the community, but also valuing that student and the community that they come from, and also tapping into those resources. These could be supporters or families or friends, basically those individuals that are part of that student's ecology. We want to be accepting of those folks and engage those as support structures as well. And then finally, using a solution-focused approach, and that's grounded in solution-focused family therapy. The big piece of that has to do with believing that students are essentially the masters of their own destination, and so it's really helping students find the solutions to their answers and recognizing that they're the ones with the answers and we just need to help them find them.
And that's great. I think that instills great leadership, and I think it's great that you guys are also focusing on the people that they surround themselves with, which is their family, their friends, because that is going to affect them so much along the way.
Absolutely.
And you also brought a video along.
That's right.
Which kind of showcases a little more about the program. Do you want to give us a little premise about the video?
Sure. So what we're going to see a little bit in the video is there's a conversation happening between a Gateway to College graduate. This student graduated in 2014, and we brought her back to talk a little bit about what was it that helped her be successful in Gateway to College and also propel her to further post-secondary education.
Great. All right, let's take a look.
I'm an educator. I'm a faculty at the college, and I am an advisor and a coach. I'm Jane Larson, and I have been with Gateway to College in Portland, Oregon for almost 12 years now.
I can tell you about some of the qualities that Jane has that are profound, and there's really not a better way to put that.
comes from a youth-led perspective. It's all about, where do you want to go? Where do you see yourself? What can I help you with?
Jane is able to speak plainly and speak directly about prospects and what to expect. Her ability to communicate from people across so many different backgrounds, that kind of real quality that you can't really rehearse. I don't think I would have found a sense of value without Gateway. I doubt I would have had a career at all. I didn't have a foot in any door.
I let him show me who he was. All of that fervor and all of that creativity and all of that genuine curiosity for the world, it comes out all the time.
I know it sounds contrived, but having someone that actually cares, like I actually felt like I would be missed.
For students, the idea of being a college student, being in an adult learning environment, and taking college classes is very motivating. And that attracts a lot of young people who had previously given up on education to come back to school because Gateway to College offers them a path to a future that feels very relevant to them.
Well, that just seems like a very rewarding job to be that person that's counseling that student to get them through college and kind of be that someone that they know is someone stable in their life that they can go to. And it seems like these students are really thriving in that type of environment.
Yeah, and you saw that both of these young people, these were both young people who were at risk of dropping out of high school, had dropped out of high school, and now they've either completed college or in college, and that's pretty extraordinary. I think people don't necessarily have expectations that these young people can thrive in the way that they're doing in Gateway to College.
So it's you're recognizing that it's not an all size fits all.
That's right.
Different people have different needs, and something that I was curious about was how does placing those students work into, placing them into college, because you're saying I haven't given up on you.
That's right.
You have a place here, but how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, so the Gateway to College programs work as partnerships between school districts and community colleges, and we're involved in putting these together in many places. And so there are referrals. There are students that maybe the counselors have identified. Over time, it's word of mouth. But what we've learned is that these young people have the same aspirations as their peers that are excelling and thriving in traditional high schools, but those places just aren't working for them, and not because they're not able to do the academic work. They are struggling in school for a whole host of reasons that may have nothing to do with academics.
And what approach and values do you promote throughout your program?
Well, Prentice talked about some of the core values of the program itself. As an organization, Gateway to College National Network is focused on fostering collaboration among multiple institutions. We're focused on leveraging community resources. The Gateway to College programs are funded entirely by public K-12 dollars that are basically passed through to the community college, which enables these programs to be sustainable. And we are focused on creating programs and systems, new programs and systems where vulnerable youth can thrive.
Great. And you also have a new project, PDX Bridge. Will you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so one of the things we learned is that there are students when we learn this just because we work in the field, but there are still a lot of students that are not graduating from high school, that are certainly not going on to post-secondary or thriving. And these are students who are in foster care, who've experienced homelessness, and who've been part of the juvenile justice system. They typically have really poor educational outcomes because they don't have the support systems that they need. And so PDX Bridge was launched in late 2016 as this is the ultimate collaboration. We have more than 24 partners around the city, educational institutions, other nonprofit organizations, public agencies that are focused on providing a web of support and the same kind of support that the resource specialist provides in Gateway to College to ensure that these young people actually have a pathway and a warm handoff into college.
That's wonderful. And you actually brought some pictures with you as well that kind of give us a visual of that experience. Do you want to talk a little bit about those?
Well, I think the pictures that we have are pictures of graduations from the Gateway to College programs. And so these are from some of our programs around the country. Again, some of these students are in fact former foster youth. We've certainly know that a number of our students were at one time experienced homelessness. But these are the students that thrive, and they are graduating with not just their high school diploma, but with significant college credit. And 3/4 of these young people that graduate from Gateway to College programs continue in college.
And if I might add, those graduates they have an opportunity to interrupt the trajectory, the financial trajectory of their lives. Many of the students come from poverty, and so this represents a tremendous shift in that familial trajectory that perhaps had they not been assisted through Gateway, maybe they would not be on that particular path.
So the success rates are just increasing, I'm sure, with these programs versus not having these programs available and just kind of allowing them to go about their life without any assistance. Can you talk a little bit about maybe the numbers or those kind of success rates?
So I mentioned the graduation, the continuation into post-secondary for the Gateway to College graduates, and we've seen that continue to grow over the years. We've seen that our students are performing better during their first semester of college. They're getting higher GPAs, significantly higher GPAs than they were in their traditional schools in just their very first semester. As far as the PDX Bridge program, that's new. We've had our first 2 cohorts start. They're taking dual enrollment classes during their senior year in high school and taking classes at PDX or at PCC. And what we saw is of the students who completed that program, the majority of them have gone on to PCC. And we're thrilled with that outcome. And they're being able to have contact with the same people that were supporting them in the high school program.
So it just makes the transition that much easier.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful.
Right.
And we have time for one more question. And I wanted to make sure we talked about the Opportunity Youth Job Fair.
Oh, thanks for bringing that up. So one of the things that we talked about earlier is that we are conveners. And we heard from our partners through actually the PDX Bridge and elsewhere that a lot of these young people are not having opportunities to go to work. And we know that in Portland, a lot of employers are talking about not having enough qualified workers. And so we are one of the lead organizations putting together Portland's first Opportunity Youth Jobs Fair on April 13th. Younger workers are struggling to take advantage of the region's economic growth, and fully 16% of young people 16 to 24 are not working and not in school in this region. And so this is an opportunity for us to serve the needs of the young people, serve the needs of the employers, and actually bring the students together with jobs, with paid internships, and for those that need it, opportunities to go back to school.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on tonight and shedding some light on these wonderful opportunities that are out there for the community.
Well, we appreciate the opportunity.
And we're glad to be here.
Thank you so much. Stay tuned for more information about these amazing programs, and we'll be right back to talk more about PDX Bridge and its partnership with PCC. We'll be right back.
Community Hotline is made possible with generous support by Gresham Ford, the dealer with a heart. The Contribute to the Community program provides the opportunity for the Gresham Ford team to make a positive impact, serving their customers and helping people across the community. The Outlook, serving the residents of East Multnomah County for more than 100 years. The region's #1 source for information, The Outlook provides readers with intensely local coverage of the issues and people that impact our lives and community. The Mountain Hood Cable Regulatory Commission, advocating on behalf of the public interest on communications policy issues at the local, state, and federal levels. And by Stamp Connection. MetroEast values the support of our partners in the community, and we'd like to give a very special thanks to the sponsors who help make our programming possible.
Hotline, we highlight the great work of local nonprofits in our area. And now you can also see us on our live Facebook feed, 7 p.m. every second and fourth Wednesday of the month. So tune in and find out what's going on in your community.
Back here at Community Hotline, and we're here with Allison Trowbridge from Portland Community College. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And why don't we start talking a little bit about your partnership with PDX Bridge?
Yes, so I work for Portland Community College, and I'm the college success coach for the PDX Bridge program. So I work with students who are in the process of completing their high school credential, either GED or diploma, who have their eyes set on college, who have been either in foster care or homeless or adjudicated at some point in their lives. So I'm their go-to person, I'm their support person.
And that's wonderful. And what does the program look like?
So in PDX Bridge, as soon as a student is referred and joins the program, then I become their success coach. I start working with them to identify needs. Maybe we need to make a plan for housing. Maybe we need to think about mental health needs. Maybe we're looking at scholarships and financial aid. So I'm just working with students on the skills that they need in order to kind of start making this transition. So that's one piece. Another piece of the program is that either in the winter term or spring term of their senior year, they are taking 2 college classes. So they do that in the evenings, 2 nights a week, so it doesn't interfere with their high school responsibilities. And they take these college classes that are designed to, well, they take College Guidance 101, so that's around how to be a successful college student. And they take a Writing 90 class, so they're really developing their writing skills so that they can feel confident about college writing that they'll use in all of their classes. So by doing those classes, they're earning high school credit. That's a big motivator. They're also earning college credit so that by the time students finish their senior year of high school, they can be proud of themselves for that big accomplishment, and they also feel like a college student. They have that sense of belonging, and they have a point person that they can, text whenever they have questions or just need someone to talk to.
That's wonderful. So once again, it makes the transition so much smoother. They already have some college credits under their belt.
Yeah.
They have that contact person that hopefully they've developed a great relationship with, that they can feel comfortable going to. And then you also mentioned that you consider things like housing and mental health, which is not something that I normally hear that people take into consideration. Can you talk a little bit more about how that's affected maybe student success rates, because you're taking all those things into consideration?
Sure. Yes, students, we need to look at the student's experience holistically. Students who are on track to graduate, they're academically all set to go into post-secondary education or into a career track. But especially in cases where students have been and experienced foster care or homelessness or adjudication, they have some really complex backgrounds that they're needing to navigate. And also they're kind of in this position where when they are finishing high school and kind of turning 18, they're these wonderful milestones, but at the same time, some of the supports that they have found are kind of dropping away or at least changing. And so that can be really destabilizing. And If we don't address those other life circumstances, then it can be really much more rocky transition. So I tried to figure out what support students are already connected to, what supports I can connect them to, and just be someone who can kind of do a catch-all of what they need.
That's wonderful. And you also brought a video. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure, yeah. So this is an opportunity for your viewers to see student voices of people who have completed the PDX Bridge program. I use this video for recruiting students. A lot of the time for students to kind of wrap their head around what they're committing to, they really like to hear other student voices. Right. And so you'll see students explaining what their experience was.
Wonderful. All right, let's take a look.
I was going through a really rough time, not only personally, but in family and in school. You know, my education had plummeted.
I basically walked out of my foster home when I turned 18. Like, not right as I turned 18, but a little bit after. I kind of got a big head on my shoulders and then ended up like kind of hitting, not going completely to rock bottom, but like kind of going down there.
I struggled a lot in high school. I actually dropped out for a while to work instead of do school because I didn't think I would be able to graduate. I chose to enroll in the PDX Bridge program because I wanted to get a head start on college since I was already a little bit behind in high school, and also because I thought that it would be a good idea to learn more about the campus before I attended here in the fall.
Credits from high school and college? Yeah, I'll do that, definitely, yes, yes. And it's writing, and I'm horrible at writing, yes, I need that.
With the college gearness class, I thought that would really help me prepare to be a successful college student. So those are my biggest reasons to join PDX Bridge.
The PDX Bridge program helped me gain college experience and the work experience, and I gained a college success coach throughout the whole entire process and the whole entire term. She was by my side to help me through all of the work and whatever support I needed.
By spending a lot of time studying and spending time with the teachers, talking to them about my homework and making sure I was getting it done.
I started caring about myself in a way that I hadn't before, and I think that's something that a lot of students struggle with.
I think it was a really big eye-opener for me personally, and I think that it could benefit a lot of other students too.
Feel like this is going to help you get closer to your dreams or closer to where you want to be in life? Definitely take it, because this will not be here forever.
I didn't give up on this program because I have a son at home to think about, and I want to be successful for him.
Just be open-minded with the programs and the activities. I think that's the best way to get through them.
I realized like how important it is to get that college credit, and so I wanted to have that down and already in the book by the time I actually start, and to basically prove to myself that I could do it.
If I could, I would take this over and over and over again.
Well, what an inspirational video, and I think it's great that you guys use this type of media to recruit students. And speaking of recruiting, I know that there's spring term coming up. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure. So I'm currently accepting students for the spring term cohort. Classes start April 3rd, and the deadline to refer students is March 15th. So if your viewers know of a student who is eligible for this program, they can contact me. If a student would benefit from this exposure to college, then this is the time to send them my way.
Well, it's wonderful. And another part is the partnerships that you guys have with different schools and agencies. Can you talk a bit about that?
Sure. Yes, it's been really a privilege to be in this position and get to know kind of the web of support that there is in the city. What I find is that a lot of students who come into the program they have at some point found a staff member, a teacher, or a school setting that has finally felt like a support, like a good fit, like they feel like they're kind of maybe on track in a way that they haven't been able to be before. And this is because staff members who are working in the various agencies and schools are just totally committed to supporting these students. So that is really, really wonderful to see. And again, I mentioned, you know, as graduation creeps up and as age 18 creeps up, those relationships are going to start changing. And so I work closely with the area high schools, the homeless liaisons, some alternative schools and programs like Helen's View, New Avenues for Youth, Youth Progress, Southeast Works, just all these really wonderful agencies, and they are so committed to finding kind of that next hand that a student can take in order to continue their journey in a supported way. There can be a lot of anxiety and fear for these students and for all the people who care about them about that transition from high school. So if the opportunity for me to get to know students kind of while they're finishing high school, developing that relationship, and then as they go into college, I'm still there with them, and they have something familiar, and that's just totally critical to this supportive path that we're trying to provide.
And so we know a little bit about that transition from high school to college, but can you speak a little bit about the experience of the students have, you know, once they've kind of done the PDX Bridge classes and moving forward?
Yes, so ideally I try to connect students to other scholarships, other programs where they will continue to have coaching. The last year, about 2/3 of the students who finished the program ended up in another kind of supportive scholarship program like Future Connect, like TRIO. So that's a really wonderful transition. In terms of student results, of the students who finished last year, we had 15 students who completed the program last year. And 13 of them came back and started the rest of their college career the following fall. So just to put that into context, students who have experienced foster care, about 80% of them want to go to college. About 10 or 20% of them actually enroll in that first term, and about 3 to 5% successfully complete a degree. So, you know, it's probably similar numbers for students who have experienced homelessness or adjudication, but those who finish PDX Bridge, we're looking at 87% of those students continued their college career. We also have had students who applied to and received the scholarship through Carpe Mundi program. And so we actually have 3 students this term who are traveling around the world and earning college credit.
Wow.
So just totally expanding their view of the world. We were thinking of having a student come on in this interview, and turns out they're in South America. So
not a bad excuse.
focused on that. Yeah, but students are just really taking advantage of this opportunity and are just totally driven, and it's really amazing.
And that's wonderful. And I think you also brought some pictures that kind of showcase some of the students as well. Can you talk a little bit about the pictures that we're going to be seeing?
Sure. These photos are we took these in the end of the term celebration after the students were taking classes. At the celebration, they were sharing some of their work, sharing what this experience meant to them, kind of the transition that they had gone through in doing the PDX Bridge program. So they're showing what this program was their bridge to
success. Wonderful. And
yes.
We're running out of time, but I really wanted to ask what the most rewarding part of your job is, because it must be extremely rewarding.
Yeah, that's true. I really love the work that I do. I'm impressed and motivated every day by the heart that students bring to their life and to their endeavors. A lot of students cite kind of their motivation as being, I want to be able to help my family in the future, so that's why I'm pursuing an education. I want to be a role model for my younger siblings. I want to learn this school culture so that my baby son or daughter will be able to look up to me and be able to kind of have their path be a little bit easier. So just that heart. A lot of students also, when they're trying to decide what to do with their lives, they're thinking about the experiences they have had, and maybe they want to be a social worker so that they can help someone who's been in a similar situation, or they want to be in the juvenile justice system to provide that support. So there's just so much love and so much heart in these young people, and it's just an inspiration every day.
Well, thank you so much for talking to us today. It's very inspirational to hear about all these stories and all the success stories especially.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a pleasure.
Well, stay tuned for more information about PCC and their partnership with PDX Bridge, and we will be right back with more on PDX Bridge. Stay tuned.
Hotline is made possible with generous support by Gresham Ford, the dealer with a heart. The Contribute to the Community program provides the opportunity for the Gresham Ford team to make a positive impact, serving their customers and helping people across the community. The Outlook, serving the residents of East Multnomah County for more than 100 years. The region's #1 source for information, The Outlook provides readers with intensely local coverage of the issues and people that impact our lives and community. The Mountain Hood Cable Regulatory Commission, advocating on behalf of the public interest on communications policy issues at the local, state, and federal levels. And by Stamp Connection. MetroEast values the support of our partners in the community, and we'd like to give a very special thanks to the sponsors who help make our programming possible.
From the Portland Kitchen. Community Hotline has been devoted to supporting the work of local nonprofits for over 20 years. With 40+ shows a year, featuring more than 100 nonprofit guests, MetroEast is the go-to place to find out about the great work of nonprofits like ours. Tune in every Wednesday at 7 to see the show.
It is so important for me to have the right to be able to speak what I want to speak and talk about what I want to talk about.
If you start shutting this person up and shutting that person up and shutting this person up, that's not America.
Community Hotline with more information on PDX Bridge. And here with us today we have John Daggett and Jeremy AC. Thank you so much for being here today.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely. And why don't we start by introducing yourselves and saying a little bit about what you do.
I'm a career educator, been retired for a number of years, but right now I'm working with SAGE, Seniors Advocating for Generational Equity, and Jeremy's my boss. I've decided to volunteer at PDX Bridge, and normally when we leave a legacy, that's what we do at SAGE. It takes a gestation period of 9 months. But I think I'm going to be working on an elephant. It's probably going to be over 23 months, so we're just starting.
I think so.
Wonderful. And Jeremy?
Well, first of all, John is a little soft-spoken. He is one part of like Portland's power couple. He and his wife Barb are two amazing people. In fact, it's because of them that we got connected with you, which is
well,
amazing.
now we love him.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But my role, I work for Gateway to College National Network, and I'm a senior manager there. And one of my primary roles is to manage the collaboration that PDX Bridge is, really.
That's wonderful. And you talked briefly about SAGE. Do you want to talk a little bit more about it?
Well, it focuses on folks over 50 generally. Some are still working. Most are retired as long as they want to. And I'd call it a catalytic organization. It's trying to tap into the fact that thousands of people are retiring now every day, not just every year. And if you have a purpose in life, you're healthier physically and mentally, and there's wasted resources. And SAGE wants to tap into not only the ideas people have, but their financial resources as well. But you don't have to give money to be a SAGE. You can give an idea, and we have coaches and training that will help us accomplish our goals. And I'm very interested in PDX Bridge because as a former educator, I see kids on the street living under tarps and things like that. And I can't imagine how difficult it must be to teach them. And my heart goes out to them. And if I can help PDX Bridge empower and enrich the lives of these young people, then I still have a purpose on this planet.
So has SAGE partnered with PDX Bridge?
Well, that's with me.
With you guys.
Yeah, there's various SAGEs doing projects all over the city. We've been involved for about 6 years, and we're growing. It's a very difficult organization because we don't have a mission. Our mission is to be a catalyst, and so it's more complex. But I don't want to take time for me. Let's talk about the Bridge kids.
Let's do it. All right, so PDX Bridge, Gateway to College National Network. What does that mean?
Yeah, well,
it's a mouthful.
It is, I know it is, and it's hard to kind of distinguish between the two, definitely. But as John was saying about SAGE being a catalyst organization, Gateway to College National Network is much like that. If you think of a group of friends, Gateway to College is the one who always has the party, and everyone comes to their house. You know, we're all nonprofits, we're all going after money, and we all want to serve youth. We just happen to be the nonprofit that throws a good party. So we bring everyone together, and we make sure that the school district is talking to the community college, is talking to the Department of Human Services who work with foster kids, is talking to juvenile justice who work with kids in the justice system, is talking to homeless shelters who are working with kids who are on the streets, and we're all working together to establish this network of caring adults so that these kids can rise up and basically see that their aspirations come true.
That's wonderful. So you're making sure you're covering all the bases. So you're trying to see, you're foreseeing any kind of issues and trying to cover all of that.
You know, I just think this is such an important aspect because our society really cuts these kids loose from their foster care. They're obviously cut loose if they're homeless, and if they're no longer involved with the courts and they're just on the street. And part of what the coach does is help them navigate the services they might be have available. Now, if you're adjudicated, maybe some of those services you can't access it, and we're trying to find that out and trying to find ways around that so that these kids can get the care they need and the support they need to move on with their life.
Absolutely, and something we had talked about in the previous segment was once they turn 18, it's that great, I'm an adult now, but where are all my resources now?
Yeah, I mean the big thing is these are kids who don't have strong parental figures, you know. They create a close
That's
bond.
an understatement, buddy.
Okay, John came out swinging, but so yeah, they don't. I mean, it's true. It's an understatement. These kids have bounced around from foster home to foster home. Many of them have lived on the streets. They really see their English teacher, perhaps, who is like changing their life with literature or with writing, or they have this trusting relationship with them. The first adult role model that they actually believe in. It's not the judge who's sentencing them to jail. It's not the police officer who's arresting them. You know, it's not the standard like foster parent or parent who's abandoning them. This is somebody that they can depend on. But guess what happens when they graduate? That relationship is over. You know, so now they're back to square one. They're back and they're on their own, and they don't even have the support of the foster youth system anymore because they've aged out of care. So PDX Bridge exists so that we could bridge that divide. And these kids who are, you know, who have aspirations, like over 83% of foster youth aspire to go to college and aspire to have a life, but only 10% actually do. You know, this is a huge desperation, and our goal is to bridge that divide from state care to independent adulthood.
And by the way, these kids, these three categories, cost our nation $27 billion a year as an expense. Now, we're trying to invest in them because they're human potential. These are probably some of the most creative kids on the planet because they have to be to survive. They're very resilient. They haven't been coddled. And if they've made it this far and they want to get into college, they could be the solution to the myriad of problems society has right now. So their human potential needs to be saved.
Absolutely. And you also brought a video with you that kind of showcases a little bit about that. Do you want to talk a bit about the video?
Yeah, actually, you're going to recognize both the people in this video because we have Allison, who's our amazing college success coach, and she's changed the lives of countless students already. And then we have one of our other PDX Bridge students that you've already seen in the previous video. But they're going to kind of talk about their relationship and look at it from a different angle than what we saw in the previous segment.
Wonderful. All right, let's take a look.
My name is Jason Tyler, and I am a PDX Bridge student. I think one thing that's really unique about PDX Bridge is that while there's a lot of a focus on education and learning stuff, there's also a lot of focus on showing students support to do that and teaching them how they can help themselves be better at getting an education, which is a skill I think a lot of students go into college without.
I'm Allison Trowbridge. I'm the college success coach for PDX Bridge. Our goal is to start a relationship while they're in high school, have wraparound supports with people who are currently supporting them, guide them through the transition out of high school and into another supportive setting at the college so that we bridge that gap.
Like, they aren't just there to give you a grade and have you move on. They're definitely there to like form a relationship with you and help you become a better student and a better person.
I really see my role as being to meet a student wherever they are at when I first start working with them, and then to just be walking with them side by side to guide them through the whole process.
Allison is one of the most fun people I've ever met.
Jason is wonderful and amazing.
She's also definitely somebody who's very committed to helping students like be the best that they possibly can at whatever they're trying to do. I think that the most important thing I want people to know about me and my peers is that all of us are a lot stronger than people think we are. I was raised in a really overly sort of strict environment. I was homeschooled. I wasn't really allowed to have access to basically anything that other kids had access to. When I was 16, I actually started going to a new high school that was not like a religious one, I guess. When I got there, it was like everything was different, and I also found that like I was really far behind. Being queer, growing up in rural Indiana where I grew up, there was nobody like me. I didn't know anybody like me. I've had a ton of struggles in my life and things that made it really hard, and like there were like so many times when I thought I would never make it and when I gave up, and like but with like some help and some support I realized like I can do anything that I want to do.
He just has this this strength and boldness, he's gonna accomplish everything he sets out to.
The people with PDX Bridge are so supportive and so helpful and so open. It definitely makes it like less daunting going to school because you know that you have somebody that you can trust who like actually cares about you, who's gonna help you and wants to help you succeed.
Another wonderful and inspirational video. Thanks so much for sharing that, and I think that kind of gives people an insight to just how important these counselors or these people are to these students. It's everything. It makes a huge difference. And something that you guys wanted to talk about was your expansion to East County. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'd love to. We recently applied for a grant from Meyer Memorial Trust, a local really important
big one. You went for the big one. Yeah.
And they've been really strong allies of ours, not just as funders, but as collaborators. And we have enough money to expand to Mount Hood Community College, which is fabulous because we're going to be able to double our PDX Bridge program and have a site at Mount Hood as well as PCC. We're looking to launch sometime in 2018, and this is we're really excited. We're bringing in Reynolds, Gresham Barlow, we're bringing in Centennial, David Douglas, and a lot of these people are already working with Allison because she's networked out far and wide. But now the kids are going to have an option to go to Mount Hood if it works for them.
And that's wonderful because there's a large need here in East County that maybe wasn't met. A lot of organizations have a big focus on Portland, but it's also important to kind of have a focus on East County because there's a lot of people in need.
Right.
Absolutely. And so what types of needs do these young people have specifically?
Well, let me hit that a little bit.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. When they complete the program, they're very successful moving on to apprenticeships, community college, what have you. But roughly, not quite, but I think almost half of the first cohort dropped out. And that's really disquieting. And the reason why they dropped out was understandable if you look at the circumstances of their life. They're homeless, they're foster care, they're in trouble with the law, they need to survive. So they're struggling at menial jobs or maybe things that maybe not legal to survive. They're in a survival mode. And we think that's just intolerable, that they need to be supported when they're going to school and doing their homework. And maybe I'm jumping ahead, but I really think that kind of investment in giving them a stipend, some kind of resource, so that they don't have to go to a really low-paying job or do something that we wouldn't want them to do to survive, then we can get 80-90%, maybe more, completing the program and on with their life. So I think it's truly important.
Absolutely. And we have just enough time for one more point, and I want to make sure we talk about the student stipend fundraiser. Jeremy, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, John brought it to our attention just now. These students' lives are very busy. We created this amazing opportunity for them, this college access opportunity. But like John said, not every student has the ability to take advantage of that. And so what we want to do is treat it like a part-time job, because a lot of these kids are working at Burger King or Jamba Juice or somewhere else just to put food on their table, sometimes to care for their own children, sometimes to care for an estranged kin, or just finding a place to sleep at night. And so we want to treat this like a part-time job. And if we can raise money, we have enough money to expand, but we don't have enough money to give these kids the basic funds to meet their basic needs. And so if we could actually raise about $1,800 per student, then we could satisfy their needs, and we could help them, and it would essentially be like a part-time job for them. And so what we've done is we've launched a GoFundMe page. It's gofundme.com/PDXBridge, and here we're trying to raise money to help these kids basically realize their own aspirations and their own potential.
And that way they're able to focus on their education instead of focusing on how, needing to go to that second job to make ends meet.
Exactly, and this isn't welfare. This is not a handout. These kids didn't ask to be homeless. They didn't ask to never complete a year of high school because they get bounced around from foster home to foster home. They didn't ask for any of these things. We're just trying to give them back because these kids are, after all, wards of the state, which mean they're our kids. All of our tax dollars are paying for them.
And
so,
our tax dollars will have to pay a lot more if we don't do this small amount ahead of the game to help them out. It's going to cost society $40,000 a year to have them incarcerated if that happens. And what's $1,800 a kid so that they can have food and clothing and then a chance to focus
and give
on
back
their future.
To the community.
There you go, and give back. And you saw the pictures of those kids. They're incredible. They're excited. They're happy. They feel cared about. They're going to be contributors, and that's what we want.
Well, thank you so much for talking to us tonight. It's been incredibly inspirational, and I hope that hopefully will help you guys get out there so that people really find out all of the programs that are here and are accessible, especially now at Mount Hood Community College. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Atsu.
Thank you for letting us have a voice here.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us on another show of Community Hotline. Stay tuned for more information on PDX Bridge and also on how you can get involved here at MetroEast Community Media. Until next time, have a good night.
Is made possible with generous support by Gresham Ford, the dealer with a heart. The Contribute to the Community program provides the opportunity for the Gresham Ford team to make a positive impact, serving their customers and helping people across the community. The Outlook, serving the residents of East Multnomah County for more than 100 years. The region's #1 source for information, The Outlook provides readers with intensely local coverage of the issues and people that impact our lives and community. The Mount Hood Cable Regulatory Commission, advocating on behalf of the public interest on communications policy issues at the local, state, and federal levels. And by Stamp Connection. MetroEast values the support of our partners in the community, and we'd like to give a very special thanks to the sponsors who help make our programming possible.